The college football season is almost upon us, and I have 3 burning questions about Deion Sanders and his Colorado squad.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. I am your host, Kevin Borba. Today's episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone, every day, all summer long. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. We are also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So thank you guys for tuning in again, making me your first listen of the day and making me a part of your daily routine. My everydayers, you know who you are. I appreciate you. Show wouldn't be possible without you. Let's dive into my 3 burning questions for Colorado. Now, these questions aren't necessarily like, will they be good? Will they be bad? Who's going to do this? Who's going to start here? It's more so of a mindset thing and more so of a ceiling thing. It's more so just all around what is going on. So my most burning question, actually, I'm going to start with my least burning and we'll work our way from like severe, like first degree all the way up to third degree hot, I guess we'll call it. First degree question where it's like, this is just the basic, will the trenches be good enough to sort of allow Colorado to reach their ceiling? I talked about best case scenario for Colorado yesterday or on Thursday's episodes, if you're watching this out of order or listening to this. My ceiling for Colorado was around 9-3, 10-2. That's like if everything goes right. So they're healthy, they're winning tough road games, they're winning the 1-score games, which in the Big 12 is a big deal because 47% of those games are decided by single digits. And they're just taking a necessary step to be one of the better teams in the Big 12. Like, does that happen? If it does, then they can win 9 games. That's like my ceiling for them, 10 wins, 9 wins, somewhere up there. The biggest question for me is, are the trenches good enough? Now, I'm not going to pretend like they didn't improve. Obviously, you bring in, I think it's around 14 new offensive linemen now, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Their defensive line is completely revamped. They have pass rushers. They have guys who are good at stuffing the run. They have guys who are physical. They have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. Will it translate? It's not me doubting them, because I think this unit on both sides of the ball would blow last year's unit out of the freaking water, right? Like, I totally agree with that take. That is my take right there. Like, I think they are much better in the trenches. Now, when the season rolls around and push comes to shove and all the teams you're playing are much more physical than I would say the Pac-12 was, because I do think the Big 12, from a physicality standpoint, I think the Pac-12 had better teams. I think the Big 12, from a physicality standpoint, has more physical teams. It has more teams that are willing to run the ball down your throats. It has more teams that predicate themselves on strong defensive linemen, physical linebackers. So is Colorado good enough in the trenches to contend, or will they sort of underwhelm and not reach those, I guess, not expectations, but the level of hype that a lot of people are putting on them? Second burning question for me. How does Colorado maximize Travis Hunter? He is probably the best player in college football from an all-around standpoint. He could do everything. I tweeted it yesterday on the Locked On Buffs Twitter account, which you guys need to go check out, that's where I post all the episodes and some fun jabs and commentary here and there. And there was a video that I tweeted from one of the Well Off Media videos, and it was Travis Hunter on offense. Deion Sanders throws a beautiful ball and puts it high and away where only Travis can get it. And he jumps up, out jumps the first defender, and the second defender that came in wasn't really a part of the picture, couldn't really do anything. And it was like, okay. So I tweeted, I was like, the last place I'd want to be ever is trying to out jump Travis Hunter or get a jump ball, like come down with a jump ball with him in the mix, because obviously that's just asking to be put on a poster. That's just asking to be embarrassed, right? I think Travis Hunter is one of the most dynamic athletes in all of college football. With that being said, Travis Hunter is a key player on offense. He is a key player on defense, and he is elite. Let me just put it that way, right? He is someone who can do a little bit of everything. is probably the best player on both sides of the ball, but he's had injuries, right? We've talked about his injuries before. In 2021, he missed 5 games due to an ankle injury. He obviously started his college career in 2022 at Jackson State. He missed a few games because of the same injuries. Because of injuries, excuse me. Now, last year is a freak thing, dirty hit, dirty play, should have never happened. But it's football. Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders will be prone to be receiving some tough hits, some dirty hits, just because people want to take them down. People are going to sack them and maybe give a little chicken wing to the throat when they get up, or a little kick to the shin when they get up. That's the life of someone who's as famous, as popular, as polarizing as this Colorado duo is. And so Travis Hunter has had some injury issues in the past. I think Colorado needs to limit his snaps. Now, I'm not saying don't play him on both sides. He's obviously an elite player on both sides of the ball, so why would you take him off the field? But I don't think he needs to be on the field at all times. I think realistically, you could have him on somewhat of a pitch count in the first half, or you could kind of go by feel where it's like, okay, the offense is clicking, and we got Will Shepherd and LeJontay Wester and Jimmy Horn feasting right now. Do we really need Travis out here running those go routes, just sort of stretching the defense and getting cardio in? No, probably not, right? So I think they need to pick and choose their moments. Will they pick and choose their moments, or Deion Sanders has kind of alluded to this before. Coach Prime has said, hey, Travis wants to play, so he's going to play. We'll listen to him. It's like, okay, I get that. But I think I'd be shocked. I'll put it this way. I'd be legitimately blown away, socks knocked off, if you could find a college football player across the country. Obviously, none of them play both ways like Travis. But if you could find one that says, hey, I don't want to play this snap, or I don't want to play this drive, I'd be shocked. Like, no player is going to willingly be like, yeah, I don't want to play. I'm good. Thanks, though. Like, I'll sit this one out, right? Like, the only time they do that is during bowl games that are meaningless, and those guys are doing it to protect their draft stock. Travis Hunter will not choose to sit out during any point during the regular season on his own merit or on his own choosing, unless he really has to. So does Colorado adjust to that? Do they just leave it be? Do you kind of just ride the hot hand with him? Like, if he's playing well, keep him in. If it's obviously needs a rest, you pull him out. I would love to see what they do. Now, obviously, I know he's gained some weight. I know he's gotten bigger, stronger, faster. He's mentally tough. He's a great dude, it seems like. But you want to preserve him. And so does Colorado preserve him, or do they sort of let him run wild? We'll have to find out. Third and final question. This is my most burning question because it's something that I think Colorado was plagued by last year in a big way. It was their identity. What was it? What is it? What will it be? Last year, after the USC loss, which, mind you, was week 4. So at this point, Colorado had beaten TCU, they'd beaten Nebraska, and they had beaten Colorado State. Then they lose, or this is week 5, excuse me. They had already lost to Oregon. So you beat those 3 teams, get blown out by Oregon, and then you go down 27 points in the first half, and you do come back and sort of make it a game. They lose 48-41. They had a moment to sort of tie things up, but we were running the ball with no timeouts left. There was no timeouts left, which was a problem in of itself. So it's like, what is the identity? And after the game, Coach Prime said, that the loss came down to one thing. He said, what's our identity? I don't know who we are. I don't know what we're going to do. From practice to practice, I do. From practice to practice, I do. But we've got to translate that into the game. We're still searching for our true identity. So that was 5 games into the season. And I don't think that was the last time he said something to that effect. I think there was another time where he sort of hinted at Colorado had not found their identity, where it was just like, oh, we're not really sure what we're doing out here. And this isn't me trying to shoot Colorado down. This isn't me trying to sort of, this isn't me trying to say anything about it, like what they're doing. It's just, they have to figure it out. I think one of the most pivotal games, and I think this is sort of something that attests to this, the Stanford game, where they blew a 29-point lead, where it finally looked like they had figured things out, and they lost. And then after the game, Coach Prime says, I'm truly upset. I'm truly disturbed. He said, we start off the game, really put it together in the first half like we desired. And then he goes, you surrendered 3 touchdowns unanswered, close to it, which I can't fathom it right now. Still trying to wrap my head around it. And then he later said, I felt complacency going into the half because we stalled offensively. We gave up some yardage. I just didn't like how it felt going into the halftime. We come back out, and here comes some complacency. Here comes a team that I can't stand, that you can't stand, that you can't understand how that happens to us. And so there's just so many questions around this team. It was like, what is our mindset here, guys? Like, what we are going to game 1 against North Dakota State. I don't care what the identity is. Like, it could be power run. It could be dink and dime offense. It could be Shedeur Sanders is going to push the ball down the field, and the run game is going to complement it. They're going to have a physical defense. They're going to have a frisky defense that tries to make big plays, turnovers a lot. At one point, Colorado was forcing a lot of turnovers last season, so that could be sort of their identity. I don't know what it'll be. We have to see them play. We have to see it come to fruition. They have a lot of new guys who just got here sort of during the summer, and so they're still trying to work things out. Obviously, it's fall camp now, but you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things to figure out, and that is the biggest question. Excuse me. If I could ask Deion Sanders, I would ask him, 1, what do you want the identity to be? 2, how do you make sure that identity is implemented, right? Like, worst case scenario, I think, is Colorado goes through another few games and we're talking about finding our identity. Because at that point, it just shows that there's something going on in the program where they cannot figure out how to be like, hey, our team is predicated on blank, whatever it is. And we need to do blank in order to succeed. I don't know what that comes down to. Not sure anyone else does besides them. And I look forward to seeing what that is, because I'm sure it will be evident. That's just my biggest question heading into the season, not fall camp. We're in fall camp already. When we come back, we're going to be talking about a late new addition for Colorado with the season right around the corner. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games and the sports aren't sporting like we want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going wherever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me a part of your daily routine, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And I just want you guys to know that I greatly, greatly appreciate you and all the support that you have given me along the way. Let's talk about Colorado's new addition. It's an offensive lineman again. Yeah, they went back into the portal and they were able to get former 4-star recruit Cardell Thomas. He was an interior offensive lineman. A little bit about Cardell. He's kind of been all over the place. His career started off at, let me pull up his little profile here so that way I could get all of his information correct, because he's a guy that's think he's really beneficial for this Colorado team. I don't know what his role will be, but at the end of the day, it's never hurts to have sort of a guy who's experienced. And so he's a former 4-star recruit, 6'3", 310 pounds, has 1 year of eligibility remaining. He's from Southern Lab High School in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, signed with his hometown LSU Tigers, played in 11 games with 2 starts at LSU during the 2020, 2021, and 2023 seasons. He then transferred to Florida A&M, where he played 621 offensive snaps during the 2023 season. So in total, this brings Colorado's offensive line group to 14 scholarship players. They now have 24 seniors on scholarship, so a lot more experience. He played both guard positions during his college career and is expected to do the same at Colorado. So now he joins a room, an offensive line room, not a guard room, but an offensive line room that has Justin Mayers, Kareem Harden, Wyatt Hummel, Tyler Johnson, Tyler Brown, Yakiri Walker, Jordan Seaton, Khalil Benson, Phillip Houston, Hank Zelinkas, who played really well last year, was on the team last year. Texas transfer Peyton Kirkland, Zach Owens from Clemson, and then I believe it's Yaya Atia from London. So they have a ton of size, depth, and potential on this offensive line. And what does this addition really do for Colorado? I don't know if he's going to start. I don't know if he's even going to play. He's kind of late to the fold here. And I think that's sort of a risk on his end, because obviously you want to play, but you arrive kind of late. Does it really hurt you? For Juwan Mitchell last year, it didn't. Juwan Mitchell was playing, I think, week 2, he was starting. Week 3, he was a starter for Colorado. So Coach Prime has not been shy about playing guys if they're able to play. Like, he doesn't care if you're there for 2 years. He doesn't care if you've been there for all of 5 minutes. If you show that you could play and produce, you will be on the field. So I like this addition to the offensive line room. I don't think you could ever have enough depth at the offensive line, especially when it was as big as a problem as it was last year. And the offensive line really cost you games. It cost big moments. Shedeur Sanders was sacked 52 times, I believe the number was, which, if you think about it, subtract 20 from that. We'll just say he got sacked 32 times. Look me in the eyes right now. Look me in the virtual eyes, or look me in the virtual ears if you're listening to this, and tell me that Colorado doesn't have 3 or 4 more wins if Shedeur Sanders has 20 extra plays to make a big play. Now, obviously, that's not me saying that he's going to make a big play every play, but it's Shedeur freaking Sanders, dude. Like, he is a top 5 quarterback in the draft in this upcoming draft class. He's a top 3 quarterback in college football. Like, he is going to be a top 5 pick, possibly. And you're telling me that with an extra 20 plays, he wouldn't make something happen? I don't know. It's hard to play the what-if game, but that's all I'm saying. I think Colorado has a lot to be excited about with this new offensive line. I'm excited to see who's the first unit. Who are they trotting out there week 1 against North Dakota State? I will be paying attention. I know you guys will be paying attention. And I know we will be talking about it here on Locked On Buffs. When we come back, we are going to be talking about all of the excitement that Coach Prime delivered on what I'm calling Prime Day, because it's his birthday. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concert, comedy, theater, whatever it may be near you. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege. It's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. I appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day. Make me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for subscribing, following, liking. Give me those 5 stars wherever you listen to your podcast. Let's talk about everything that was said by Coach Prime today while he was speaking to the media. It's his birthday, August 9th. He had some exciting announcements. His daughter had her child, so he's a grandfather. And there's new uniforms for Colorado. There's a lot of new things to be excited about. He also seemed to be throwing some shade at Pat Narduzzi. He was talking about Deion Hayes and Samuel Kunalola and said, "I want to thank the head coach from Pittsburgh for preparing those young men for us. God bless." Sort of poking fun at the comments that Pat Narduzzi had last year where he said, when you become a head coach, you inherit the team and you coach that team. If someone wants to leave, that's great. You don't kick them out. I disagree with that whole process. That's not why I got in the game. That was Pat Narduzzi in 2023 talking about Deion Sanders sort of showing people the door. And then what else did he talk about? Like I said, new uniforms. He called out certain reporters and said, "You don't like us. Why do you talk to us? Why do you do this to yourself?" He said he wasn't talking to certain outlets, and it seemed like a really interesting presser. He did conclude his press conference saying it's going to be a phenomenal year. I'm telling you what I know, not what I heard. And so I think he has a lot of reasons to be excited. He upgraded the roster all over the place. He also he said the defense is coming, which is cool. He says, "I feel much better about the team and also the staff. The coordinators are phenomenal. We all have a really cohesive bond. I'm feeling really good, much better than last year. We're feeling really good. I'll have my sexy on by the time the first game is held." So he's excited about this team. He's excited about his staff that he puts around him, which I think is interesting because I thought he was high on Sean Lewis and Charles Kelly. Now, obviously, it didn't work out for either guy, I would say, but Deion Sanders is high on this team. He's excited for this team, And it's hard not to be. You make a lot of additions. You see what you see in practice. You saw what we saw in the spring game. And Coach Prime, he's fired up, and it's hard to blame him. I do think it's interesting that he's very willing to give some people the cold shoulder, but hey, it's his program. Run it how you want, and let's just see how the season pans out, because I'm sure a lot of people will have some questions for him, and a lot of people will be questioning certain things if things don't go well. And if they do, people are going to have a slice of humble pie coming their way, because as we know, Deion Sanders and company, they do keep receipts. This has been another great episode of Locked On Buffs. I appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to like, subscribe, follow, give me 5 stars, subscribe, share this with a friend so we can continue to grow this community and have some fun. I will see you guys next Monday with a major personal announcement.